What is the next big opportunity in 2025? AI agent. Today it is possible for you to create these autonomous apps who will do the things on your behalf. How do you build AI agents? But the biggest use case of this is in B2B, that you can build AI agents today and launch it and save companies a ton of cost. You can build these agents without knowing how to code. Being around obsessed people, by osmosis, you will learn a thing or two. Go for events, meet people, ask questions, just be curious. Make something and ask money for it shamelessly. 50,000 rupees, will they pay for that? But I made the invoice, they paid for it, made an invoice for 5 lakhs, they paid for that, made an invoice for 50 lakhs, they paid for that as well. You build a website, talk about it. You get your first customer, talk about it. You get your first acquisition, talk about it. You get anything, you are facing a problem, talk about it. Neither is right, neither is wrong. It's all about your mindset. Learn how to sell and get potential clients. The first $10,000 per month revenue can be earned just by, what's up, IIT Guwahati. This is very weird for me because 5 years ago, all I wanted in my life was to get into an IIT. I think this is the closest I'll ever be to getting into an IIT, to having the IIT experience for a day. Essentially, the last 5 years, I have found demand for something and built solutions for it. I saw people watching Shark Tank, so I built Unlocking Unicorn Secret. I saw companies reaching out to me for social media growth, YouTube growth, so I built my company. I saw people wanting to learn skills, so I made videos about how can you learn skills like digital marketing, design, editing, things like that. That's about what I've done. But let's talk about 2025, right? What is the next big opportunity in 2025? What do you think this picture is about? What is happening in this picture? This picture is of a launch of an iPhone. This happened in January of 2007, January 2007, 9th January, almost 18 years ago, right? Now, with the iPhone came this. What is this? The App Store, of course. The App Store was the single greatest opportunity of the 2010s because it allowed anyone to build an app and get access to millions of iPhone users. And it was the opportunity of the decade. Okay, the next big thing, let's talk about this. ChatGPT just rolled out a latest update called ChatGPT Tasks. You've all used ChatGPT, you all know about GPT-4, you know about GPT-4o, you know about o1 as well, but this new update is special, it's different. So essentially, ChatGPT Tasks is a way for you to ask ChatGPT to do something for you in the future. For example, you can just say that every morning 9 a.m. I need the latest news in AI and technology. Or you can say that every Sunday morning 10 a.m. give me companies who are looking to hire, let's say, data scientists in Bangalore, for example. And it will do that automatically for you in that time, whenever that time comes. So this is a very primitive example of something which every tech leader is talking about in 2025. This is basically how it looks. But for example, right, you can ask it to follow up on the pending emails or whatever tasks that you have. You can ask it to come up with important local events which are happening in your place that you can go and attend, and it will tell you about it at that particular time. You can ask it to recommend you videos and articles about particular topics that you're interested in. It will do that for you. But essentially, this is an example of an autonomous AI agent, right? And this is a very thrown out keyword by every tech leader out there. I recently went to this Microsoft event which happened in Bangalore, and I heard Satya Nadella talk in front of me. And the number one thing he was talking about, this is Satya Nadella, he was talking about building an agentic world. And he was saying that today it is possible for you to create these autonomous apps who will do the things on your behalf, thereby helping you save time and effort, right? That's essentially what he was talking about throughout the whole 1 hour talk. And he was showing multiple examples about how they have built different agents which can integrate with the Microsoft 365 suite and can deliver results for you. As you can see, facilitator agent, they have an interpreter agent, they have project management agent, all of these agents which corporate companies might use and save time with. Google came out with this thing called Project Mariner. So Project Mariner is a latest Google Labs project. The way it works is that, think of it like an assistant in Google Chrome. And you can ask it to do anything that you want to get executed, but you don't want to do it yourself. So you can ask it to give me the emails of founders of XYZ companies, and it will do it on your behalf. So basically, this is another example of a big company taking AI agents and making it usable for anyone out there. They'll be launching this very soon for everyone to use. But I got an inside view of it because I'm in touch with Google. But this is basically how it looks, and it populates and does the work that you want it to do. Okay, that's just an example of what AI agents are doing today. But imagine a world in which anything that you want to get done can be done without you even thinking about it or putting effort into it. The biggest thing I put my time and effort into is figuring out when do I go to some place, let's say I have a trip, what flights I book, what hotels do I have to book. But this can all be done by AI agents. Imagine it could read out that, okay, in the last 5 years, Ishan has stayed in these types of hotels, has taken these flights, so he would probably take these flights, right? It would have context and it can suggest you that this is the most likely thing that you will book, and it can do it for you. That's one example. Imagine you have a date night next week and you want to get the right clothes for it, and you can basically just tell your assistant that get me the clothes for it. Without you having to search through tens of different websites, it does it for you and it orders the thing for you automatically. Just an example of what you can do in the future with agents. Let's say you want to have healthier food. The agent can automatically order the right food from the particular restaurant on Zomato and get you the food to you automatically, without you having to think about it much. Just an example. So that's how it works. Ultimately, the point is to save time and money. And now this might be something you would think, कि अच्छा इसके लिए तो I can put a reminder on my phone, या फिर इसके लिए I wouldn't pay. But the biggest use case of this is in B2B. And I've been doing B2B for the past 4 years, and I've learned that companies will either pay you money to do the things that they don't want to do, it takes too much time for them, or B, they will pay you money if you will make them money. That's literally the two ways you can make money in B2B. And we'll talk about how you can do that with AI agents. All right, the first step is how do you build AI agents, right? And there are two ways to do it. You can either do it with code or you can do it without code. So you understand how to build apps from scratch. Let's say you can build a simple Python program, for example, the very basics of it. So let's say you know that. So I'm going to show you a few things that you can use to build AI agents today using code. And then we'll talk about how do you build AI agents without code. For those of you who don't know how to code, the best free course you can take to learn to code in 2025 is CS50. CS50, for those of you who don't know, is a free course published by Harvard every year in which you can learn the basics of computer science and programming logic. Learn about how do programming languages like C and Python work and how to use that to build software, how to build websites, how to understand how technology works. The best course you can take to understand everything from scratch. So do that if you don't know how to code. Okay, but I was talking about open source agentic libraries. These are basically frameworks that you can import and you can build agents with it. Take an example of something called Orchestra. So Orchestra is a free framework, open source on GitHub that you can use and you can build agents. It's a very simple process. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can just search mainframe computer / Orchestra. But this is a free open source framework you can use. The way it works is that, like any other model, you would import and install that library first of all, right? So we've used pip in Python to basically install it. The next step is for you to import that in your project file that you're using, .py file. The next step is to create that agent. So if you can see, we've basically created that agent. We say the LLM to use is GPT-4o, and we've defined what an agent really is. The next step is to define what this agent will do, right? We created it, now we're defining what this agent can do, what is the function of it, so we're defining the function. And at the end, we're just calling the function, calling the agent to perform. That's a very basic interface, that's the very basic logic of how you can use Orchestra to build an AI agent. And you can see very simply what it does. It basically will ask you the topic and will search that topic on an LLM like 4o that we've mentioned and will give you the detail about it. The prompt is the instruction parameter which says use your search tool to research about this topic and explain it to me, basically. So it will explain that in a very basic language. Very simple agent, you probably won't use it, but it's just an example of what you can build. The essence of it is to import the library, create the agent, define the function, call that agent, and ultimately then deploy it so that it keeps running in the background and you don't have to call it again and again. That's one example. Let's take another example. So I've been building a tool for the past 1 month in my company with a batchmate of mine from my college. It's called ytwiki.com. And I want to give you this example so that you understand how agent workflows work. So this is a website of ytwiki.com. The way it works is that you put the link of the website that you have. Let's say you're a business owner, let's say you run a startup and you want to understand how to make content for your product. You go there, you put the website link and you press enter. What it will do is it will go to the product, go to the site and understand what product you sell, who do you sell it to. It will then create keywords which are important for your business and product. And then it will search those keywords in real time on all the social platforms, on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. And it will then find out the best performing content in all of these social platforms. And then it will create a one-pager document saying कि भाई अगर आपको बनाना है content in 2025 in this particular keyword, so this is what you should be making. So that you get an idea for how to make content. This is a B2B tool which we've made for free. We'll be launching it very soon. But this is how it essentially works, right? We have 4 agents here. The first one is the surfer agent, which goes on the website and analyzes what do you sell. The next agent takes that information, that summary of the product, the description, and then creates keywords important for your product. The next agent is a social media agent which searches these keywords using the APIs in real time and then figures out what is the best performing content for this particular keyword. And lastly, there's a beautify agent which just takes that information and makes a nice report out of it which you can share with your colleagues. Very simple, but this is an example of a multi-agent workflow. So you have multiple agents and the first agent is calling the second agent, the second is calling the third agent, and so on and so forth. That's how it works. How do you build this, right? There's a very cool library that you can use called OpenAI Swarm. So OpenAI Swarm lets you create multiple agents in one program. And the way it basically works, again, this is the open source GitHub repository, but the way it works is, again, you would have to install it with pip. Once you do install it, you will import it. You would define this function, which is called as transfer to agent, which basically helps you take one agent. When you call that agent, it will call the next agent after it. That's how it works. Next, you define agent A. You tell what functions it will use. And as you can see, the function is transfer to agent B. So this agent is just transferring to the next agent. And that is the function that is using for that. The next agent is agent B. And then you have the response. And then you print that response. Simple. That's how it works. There's no very complex rocket science to it. So that's how it works. And this is the output that you get. But the point is, you can build these apps, these agents, without knowing how to code. So all of you who did not raise your hands, that's completely fine. You don't need to learn the specifics of code if you want to just start building AI agents from scratch. There are 2 tools which I'll show you today, which will help you do that. And these tools basically are drag and drop automation builders. So you can basically create a trigger, tell what to do when that trigger occurs, what is the function that you want to be executed, and then what is the output that you want. And what LLM do you want to use in this entire process? Do you want it to be like a Claude, or do you want it to be a GPT-4o, or so on and so forth? There's a tool called Crew AI. So Crew AI helps you create automation workflows. This is the site that you can use, and you can start building agents using it. The way it works is that you would click on create new agent. As I said, you would define what the agent really does. You can also choose from templates. They have tons of templates for all types of agents you want to build. And then it asks you to customize the agent if you want to. You can test it and then deploy. That's very simple. It's just a drag and drop builder. You don't need to write code. The next, there's also a course. So there's a free course by Deep Learning AI taught by Andrew Ng, in which you can learn how to build AI agents without code using Crew AI, and it is taught by the Crew AI's founder. Another tool is called N8N. Very similar to the first one. However, this one has more complexities. So if you know how to code, if you know a bit about APIs and using APIs, this can be very useful. So this can be used to build more complex workflows, right? This is the website of it, na10.io, and this is how it works. So it basically has a model, what model you want to use. It has a memory in that agent, and it also has the tool that you want to use and what do you want to do with the actual information. So you build this very simple interface, this workflow, and then you can tell what do you want it to do. So the workflow can start with a trigger, can have some code, filter, and then the output at the end of it. But the point is that you can build AI agents today and launch it and save companies a ton of cost. And we'll talk about what types of companies are already doing it. So that's one example. Now I'll show you AI agent startups. These are companies backed by Y Combinator right now in the past maybe 6 months. And they are already selling to companies, already making revenue by selling their own AI agent workflows. Let's take an example of caseflood.ai. This is a recent batch from Y Combinator. And the way this company works is it automates all of the admin and operations tasks in a law firm. The biggest thing that law companies, the law firms do is that they spend a lot of money on operating and taking care of the information and everything which you have to use. So it can basically automate all of that. It's like a receptionist. It's like an assistant for a law firm. So this is one example. One more example is Mar Labs. Now what Mar Labs does is it basically acts as an AI voice agent, and it can call your potential leads on your behalf and sound just like a human. So what happens is whenever you're doing sales, let's say you reach out to some user and that user wants to know more about your service or what you sell or your package. They would give their phone number or they would give their email ID and they would book a call. Now what happens is most customers don't want to pay, and companies waste a lot of time just qualifying the leads. Are you really interested to pay or not? And that can take minutes, it can take hours. And so with this AI agent, now companies don't have to do that. They can simply use this agent and they can save a lot of human hours, the labor cost of calling the agent, of calling the user and asking if you want to pay and learn more. And if they're really interested, then they'll jump on a one-on-one call and actually close the client. This happens with us a lot. So I went to SF, I did about 15, 20 calls with founders to sell MarketUp services, and most of them were not interested. So I wasted a lot of that time and money to go there and meet them in person. That's how it works. Another one is called Yuma AI, Yuma Labs. Basically, it's your AI agent for customer support. Another big thing which companies spend money on is customer support. So whenever, let's say you order food from Zomato and you receive something which is stale or which is not what was promised, you raise a ticket on customer support and you want to talk to someone. Now raising a ticket basically means that someone will now sit with you and talk to you one-on-one and try to figure out that problem, right? And whenever that happens, companies have to pay money for that, even if there's nothing important in that talk, but that person is spending that time talking to you, which means it is costing the company a lot of money to do that. And this basically helps with that. It basically becomes like your AI customer support. That's one example. Another example is Friday Mail. Now this founder, I just met him on my last trip to SF, and he is building this tool which can automatically reply to your emails. It can understand how you reply to people in general, what type of emails you're interested in, and automatically reply to them for you on your behalf. Thereby, again, helping you save time and making sure that your email inbox is clutter-free. And that's one more example of what you can do with AI agents. The last one is about marketing and sales. And this startup is optimizing by creating an AI SMS agent with it. So that's how it works. That's just an example. The best thing I genuinely believe you can do if you're 20 is to just find the best time for holidays. The best thing you can do as a 20-year-old is to just go and visit SF for 2 weeks. That's all you need. And I'm saying it from my experience. I've done 4 trips to SF in just the last 6 months, and I've learned so much about how are the best people building technology and selling. And that is the best thing that has happened to me in the last 6 months. I have changed my mind of thinking from the terms of how do I make the most money to now thinking about how do I build a workflow, a system which scales for me and can be replicated for as many times as possible. And that mindset shift happened when I went to SF. So that's what you can do. Just visit Silicon Valley. That's me in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. And you'll meet incredible people. ये आप ही के एज के 20-21 साल के Indian founders हैं who are building incredible stuff. They're all YC-backed startups. And they're building technologies and tools which businesses are using today. You can go to them, interact with them, network with them, and just that act of being around obsessed people, by osmosis, you will learn a thing or two about what you want to build, what are you interested in, and that will come when you will just visit Silicon Valley once. So that's one. I met the founder of MEMAI, met the founder of Perplexity, met the founder of Notion, all these tools which I personally have been using, and I'm sure you would have heard of it as well. I got to interact with them one-on-one. I sat for 2 hours with the founder of Perplexity, and all of that would never be possible if I was just sitting in my own shell, right? I think the biggest mistake a 20-year-old can make today is to just be in your well. वो frog होता है ना, who's just in the well and thinking कि यही ocean है. And then there's a fish which comes from outside saying that that is the ocean, that is the reality. And that frog is just in that well thinking this is all that matters and has not explored the ocean. Silicon Valley, Bangalore, coming to Mumbai, meeting founders can be one way for you to explore your ocean. At least it was for me. This is another founder, senior of mine from my college, which I met. He took me around the Y Combinator offices and said that in this 1 mile radius, all the most important people in tech live. From a Sam Altman to a Gary Tan to a Mark Andreessen to a Naval Ravikant, they're all living here. And so the best thing you can do, just go there and just live or spend some time there. Go for events, meet people, ask questions, just be curious. That's all that you need. This is lu.ma. Luma is a very amazing website which I used to sign up for events which are happening in SF. You can find events happening here in Guwahati, events happening in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, and just go up to them, just show up and just hear what people are talking about. And you will automatically get new perspectives and new ideas about what you want to build in the future. Perfect. This was just an example of an event I went to. In front of me, Dario, who is the founder of Claude, was sitting, Anthropic. And I just heard him talk. And agle din, I opened my news on Twitter and I saw that Amazon invests $4 billion in Anthropic. And that guy was sitting in front of me. I was just talking to him. I just went up and say hi. And all of that happens because of the pin code of where you live. And that is what you should optimize on if you're getting started in your career. Or at least if you cannot do that, just research about it. Just be curious, be in the right Twitter spaces, the right feeds, follow the right people, and you will automatically know what's happening out there. Like for example, I think by next year, if you really do what I'm telling, you would know everything which is happening on the cutting edge of AI or tech in general. And that will give you the insights that you will need to build a big company or start your new venture. Okay. Yep. As I said, find places where companies spend a lot of time and just build solutions for that. Or find places where companies make a lot of money. How do companies make a lot of money? They make it through sales. So if you will help them with sales, they will end up making more money and they will pay you as a result of that. If you will help some company with creating the right leads list, basically before you sell, you make a list of all the ideal customer personas. These are all the people that you can sell your product to and they're the right fit for it. They have the money, they are having the right context and they want to buy what you are selling. And creating this list takes time. You can automate it and you can save the company time and help them make even more money. And that's how you can charge even higher for what you sell. That's how it works. Solve those problems and that's all you would need. Now, one thing I want to talk about, which I think most people don't understand, I did not understand, is to make something and ask money for it shamelessly. And what I mean by that is, in 2021, we got this first client of ours. हमने उन्हें onboard किया, हमने एक महीना उनके साथ काम किया, and we had to send them the invoice. And we created an invoice for 50,000 rupees, which is not a lot of money. But when I wrote that number on my invoice and saw 50,000 plus GST, तो जो number आया, I was just thinking कि यार, will they pay for what I'm selling? 50,000 rupees, will they pay for that? It was just a mindset that I had when I was 20. But I made the invoice, they paid for it, made an invoice for 5 lakhs, they paid for that, made an invoice for 50 lakhs, they paid for that as well. But the point is, ask for money shamelessly. And the problem is, you think that if you charge more, people will think कि ये तो I cannot afford. And that is right. But when you charge more, you create this sense of premiumness in what you are selling. And you actually look like a serious tool. Many people, especially in the West, think that if something is cheap, it's too good to be true. Right? Something is so cheap, how can it help solve my problem? Like, you make a $10 per month tool, I will know that this will never solve my problem. You make a $100 tool, I might think about it. This is a tweet. ये actual tweet है, किसी ने tweet किया था. Then you make a $500 per month tool, and I'll take it seriously. That's how people think. So don't think कि अच्छा, how much am I spending, and let's just charge थोड़ा सा और on that to make some profit. Think about what will make them take you seriously and charge for that. One very important learning I had by going to SF is, there are so many founders. I just showed you some of them. All of them are building all of these tools. Well, no one knows about distribution. They're all great at building stuff, but they don't know how to market. And I met them and they were like, Ishan, you've built your distribution. Will you become our angel investor and help us do the same? I didn't even have any insight into what they are selling, into their tool. But they wanted me to be a part of their company because I figured out my own distribution and they think I can do the same for them. Thereby concluding that today the cost of building software I've just shown you is going down and is more versatile. Anyone can build it. You can build it even if you don't know how to code. I've just shown you N8, N and Crew AI, which will help you to build AI agents. But distribution is something which most companies don't know how to crack. That's why I built my own marketing company to help companies with that. That's why I built the ytwiki.ai.com tool to help companies with that. The bottom line is, figure out how can you distribute something and get free marketing. And the best case study for that is Duolingo. Duolingo there's a very cool talk which is given by the chief growth officer of Duolingo, and they talk about how they grew it by just spending a few $100s on press. And it grew automatically. They did not run ads. They did not do anything else. They just created this very viral tool, app, which people were sharing automatically. And so the one thing you can figure out if you are building software is to learn how to build something, launch it, and make sure people share about it, talk about it. And you can grow without running ads about what you sell. You will have to do that later on. वो करना होगा, सबको ads चलाने होते हैं, but you don't need to do it when you're first getting started. The first $10,000 per month revenue can be earned just by doing these following things. You can go on Product Hunt and launch a product. Product Hunt is a platform where you can launch your own product. You can get people to upvote your product and get free word of mouth marketing. Just get free sales. There are so many people who are curious to try out new products and will actually pay you if it is good enough. So build tools and just launch. That's all you need. Launch it on Twitter. There are so many builders. If you just search build in public, you will find amazing builders who are just creating tools and launching it every month. And they get just so many retweets, so many messages, so many feedback, replies and DMs. They are able to build a better product and they're able to get free marketing. And that's what you need to crack as a founder. There are also other platforms like BetaList which you can go to and launch your products. You can just Google about other products like other websites like that. Okay, that's about building and marketing. But the best thing you can do alongside all of this is to document your learning when you are building stuff. I documented my learning of building my marketing company and I got so much feedback. I got clients, I got people wanting to work for me in my company, and all of that was possible because I showed the behind the scenes. You build a website, talk about it. You get your first customer, talk about it. You get your first acquisition, talk about it. You get anything. You are facing a problem, talk about it. And the more you do that, the more people will realize that this person is an expert or is an enthusiast in this field. You will either get feedback or you will get more business. There's nothing wrong in doing either. That is Twitter for you. Ultimately, then the question is, you can either grow the revenue by creating content, by building a sales funnel. So in the last 8 months in my company, we've built this funnel to get us leads and customers automatically. The way it works is, we use AI tools called as Apollo and Instantly, with which we are able to create a list of companies which would want to pay for what we sell, which is a YouTube package. So we help companies grow on YouTube. So we figured out, let's take an example of YC companies based in San Francisco who are 2 years old and they're into AI. That's an example of a ideal customer persona. Now Apollo gave me a list of all of those potential customers. I got the emails, I got their phone numbers, and just with that I was able to then reach out to them and start selling to them. That's basically how you create a sales funnel and you sell. So you either grow the revenue or you sell to acquire.com. This is basically a platform where you can go and you can start selling the tool that you've just built, right? There are people who are looking to buy tools and then either integrate into their own website or their business or sell it ahead. So there's a lot of buying and selling which happens on this platform, which you can go and just explore and see what are people doing. I've literally heard stories of people who built an AI tool, grew it for 3 months, sold it for $50,000 on acquire.com and moved on to the next thing. And they've just been doing that for the last 3 years. They build, they grow, they sell, they move on to the next thing. That's one more thing you can do. Or you can keep it running as a side hustle. There's an amazing indie hacker called Peter Levels on Twitter. And that guy basically took a challenge to build 12 products in 12 months. So every month he would launch a product, grow it, and just run it like a side hustle. It might not make him much money. He doesn't care about it. He's just focusing on building tools and seeing how well it does. That's all he's doing. And today he makes over $1 million or $2 million a month, cumulatively. And he's living his life in Bali and just having that independent life, free from all the 9 to 5 or anything like that. Okay. Or you can go all in by applying to programs like YC. There's a thing called On Deck Fellowship, which you can apply for and just get into that mode of building something big. You might think that we should not raise money, we should build it bootstrapped. But after I met all the founders, I learned that it's less about the money, it's more about the connections you get to build. Like my friend was like, bro, I was just sitting here and mere bagal mein Gary Tan was sitting. And mere bagal mein Brian Chesky was sitting and just meeting people. Brian Chesky, the founder of Airbnb, Gary Tan, the person who's leading Y Combinator right now. But the problem that you have to figure out is what works for you. Does building tools and going to the next tool work for you? Or does going all in works for you? Neither is right, neither is wrong. It's all about your mindset. That's how it works. Most important skills that you will need if you want to start a tool, an AI company, a business in 2025 is the following. You need to learn how to build. As I said, either with code, without code, using CS50 to learn how to code and then building it, but you need to learn how to build stuff from scratch. You need to learn how to launch, right? As I just showed you, you can launch on Product Hunt, on Twitter, get feedback, launch again on other platforms and just see how it goes. You need to learn how to yap. You need to learn how to talk and continue talking on podcasts, on YouTube videos, on Twitter videos or tweets or LinkedIn posts, and just be that one person who's building and marketing your own product as well. And you will be amazed by the number of responses you will get, especially on Twitter and LinkedIn. And ultimately sell. Either sell your company to someone who wants to buy it, or just learn how to sell and get potential clients, which I have done in the last 6 months by going to US, by doing more and more meetings and learning about outreach and sales. As always, you need to learn to stay curious and keep building. I think the best thing about 2025, 2024, this whole 3-4 years is that there's so much happening in tech, and there is new tools, new possibilities every month by the top tech companies, but also from smaller companies that are coming out from Silicon Valley. And the best thing you can do is to just stay in touch, ask questions with them, connect with them, and just ask questions. Ultimately, people who have built stuff, they are very curious to help you out. They're very up for having a chat or replying to your email. Just reach out. That's all. Ultimately, I want to leave you with this. I think there is a burden of being too smart in life as well. And it is this quote which I heard on social media once, and it says that someone with half your IQ is making 10x more money than you because they are not smart enough to doubt themselves. And this quote is been the most important thing for me whenever I do anything. Like I was coming today to IIT Guwahati, I was like, मैं इनको क्या बताऊंगा? What do I tell them? And I read this quote and I was like, ठीक कुछ तो है हमको बताने के लिए. There is something I can talk about. And so I did. So that's pretty much it. That was the talk. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's record one Instagram story. I want all of you to stand. I am today at IIT Guwahati, gave a talk on AI agents, and this was the audience. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming here, taking all the time. I hope this was insightful, and I wish you all the best.